In this video, we're going to explore the parts of our personality that are connected to those behaviours that take us away from the things that we might initially have the belief that they're boring for us to do. These parts find as many reasons as they can to procrastinate or step away from routine because they just don't want to stick to the structure of it all. And while we might not know it at the time, this is usually because they're driven by a fear that we're going to fail, and we simply can't deal with the impact of this failure on the vulnerable child at the core of our personality system. Today, let's have a conversation about our own undisciplined child. The undisciplined child mode is usually strongly linked with the impulsive child mode, as these two generally, but not always, go hand in hand. In this mode, we have difficulty completing routine tasks. As an adult, when we blend with this mode, we'll often find ourselves postponing or giving up on what this part of us might label as boring work, monotonous tasks, or mundane home responsibilities. And usually the alternate behaviour is in favour of what would be seen as more enjoyable activities to participate in, something that doesn't require any effort or exposure to uncomfortable feelings or emotions that our system is basically afraid of. If the undisciplined child is dominant in our day-to-day behavioural responses, we may be referred to as someone with a bit of a Peter Pan syndrome by many people, which can lead to being categorised by those around us as someone who has a fear of growing up, a fear of responsibility, or even someone who's just lazy by nature. Generally, this reaction is a learned behaviour during our childhood in response to the fear of what will happen if we allow the vulnerable child to experience the uncomfortable emotions we've been overwhelmed by in the past. When this mode of behaviour is dominant, the part is trapped in not knowing what to do when we're afraid. So procrastination and distraction is the go-to thing to do. And as it is with pretty much every mode, its presence is only felt when activated by a particular schema, and then the demanding or punitive critics are asking for some kind of response in our thoughts. One thing that I was told by many of the people that were supporting my early recovery was, you have to understand that creating a recovery lifestyle that has a solid foundation built on structure and schedule takes a disciplined approach. I heard this over and over again. It was also the narrative that I heard preached by a lot of counsellors in residential treatment too. For me, every single time I would try to implement this way of living into my own recovery process, I'd generally just fall flat on my face, giving up at the first sign of adversity, activating a simple case of the proverbial fuck it's as soon as one thing didn't go the way I wanted it to go. This perception of catastrophic failure and the fear of judgment that's associated with the lack of my follow-through would then activate my internal critics in my system, both demanding and punitive. These parts would spend their time consistently beating me up, causing the fear of guilt and shame that was connected to the sense of failure to influence my actions moving forward. One of the ways that I would avoid the overwhelming emotional experience connected to this process was through the activation of the undisciplined child within my personality system. This was a part that really didn't like to be told what to do, particularly if it was something that this part thought was boring. This emotionally sensitive part of my personality would push back against the necessity and authority of it all. The only problem with this emotional reaction was understanding where the authority was actually coming from. My undisciplined child had a reaction to what it perceived as bossy instructions. It was pushing back against my own early childhood experiences, reacting to my schemas with a narrative of I don't have to do this, and it was often the case that the authority I was fighting with was only coming from my own internal expectations. These unrealistically high expectations and the unrelenting standards that were connected to them activated my internal critics that were constantly pushing for more, using the kind of demanding language that I'd internalized from my experiences as a child. As a result, my undisciplined child would show up in a number of different ways as I went about my day-to-day activities. Most of the time, he'd show up when I was tasked with doing something that I had the perception was a difficult thing for me to do. Things like studying. Man, I really hate studying. It's just not something that I'm good at. I mean, I don't really understand why I have to study anyway. I mean, I was in the class, so I should be okay. I was listening, I was paying attention to what the teacher was saying, even though I do kind of drone on quite a bit, but still, I pretty much understood it. Maybe I can go to John's house instead. Maybe if I go to John's house, then, I'm doing other things, it'll start to jog my memory.
Yeah, let's go see John. John's a lot more fun. John's a lot more fun than studying. Studying's boring, man. boring, boring studying. I don't like studying, it's boring. I want to go see John. John's a lot more fun. John's a lot more fun. Boring, boring studying. Boring, boring studying. John's a lot more fun. Yeah, let's go see John. Let's go hang out with John. He has fun. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, screw it. Let's just head over to John's house. I mean, you know, I probably wouldn't retain the information anyway because I'm so distracted thinking about what fun we'd have at John's house, doing all the things that John likes to do. So screw it, let's go to John's house. That'll be a lot more fun. There were also times when he'd get activated because it was time to go to the gym or compete in some kind of physical competition that there was a chance I wouldn't win. Man, it's 6 o'clock and I've got to go to the gym and do my cardio. I really don't want to go to the gym. It's so boring, particularly when I do cardio. I mean, what I really want to do is just go home and eat ice cream. That would be so much better. That would be so much better to do than going to the gym and standing on that freaking treadmill.
Yeah! Ice cream! That sounds great! I don't even know who Jim is, but doing stuff with him sounds boring. So let's go home and have ice cream! Ice cream! Ice cream! Yeah! Ice cream's so much better than hanging out with Jim or whoever he is. Yeah, ice cream!
Yeah, screw it. I'm going to go home and eat ice cream. I don't want to go to the gym. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. The gym's still going to be there. It really doesn't matter if I go today or if I go tomorrow. Ice cream is better. Yes, so much better. And then there were times where he'd show up because I'd been given some kind of work that was strongly connected to my old stories of defectiveness and failure. I can't believe they asked me to do that. If people find out that I don't actually know this stuff off by heart, they're going to figure out that I actually don't know what I'm talking about. They're going to see that I'm a fake, that I'm a fraud, that I'm a failure. That's not going to be good, man. What the hell am I going to do? I mean, I could take the time right now and try to figure it out. I mean, it's a lot, but if I sit down and think it through, I've got the time to learn it. But I so don't want to do that, man. It's so boring. So mind-numbingly boring. I would much rather just go see a movie or something like that. Just get me out of the house.
Yeah, let's go see a movie. Movies are brilliant, man. Movies are awesome. Don't have to worry about this boring stuff. Boring stuff. We can figure that out tomorrow. It's fine. It's fine. We don't worry about that. Go see a movie. Movies are great. Yeah, can we see a Disney movie? Disney movies are the best, man. Disney movies are awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I can figure this out another time. It's not a big deal. I'll just wing it tomorrow. I can fly by the seat of my pants. I'm going to go see a movie. That is so much more fun than figuring this stuff out right now. Screw it. I'm out of here. As I worked on my recovery and moving forward into living the life I wanted to live, using mindfulness to listen to the different parts of me that were involved in this process, I made the discovery that the undisciplined child inside of me was actually not fearful of hard work in any way. Instead, this part's behaviour was driven by the fear of failure. If I couldn't achieve the expected standards which I'd created for myself, it would spiral me into a system that was filled with guilt and shame. The perception that I had a lack of skills to deal with these emotions was at the root of all the problems. Ultimately, living inside of a fear-based personality system was the primary reason I was unable to live the life I wanted to live. Using the skills of DBT to practice tolerating the distress that's connected to these parts helped me to build the capability to manage their urge to act. In DBT, everything is built on a foundation of mindfulness, and in my opinion, this is optimized in the use of a skill that's called stop. Using this skill effectively opens up the possibility to activate the other skills of DBT, providing the opportunity to work with our parts instead of just becoming them and going in the general direction that they want us to go. In the PDF at the bottom of the website page that's connected to this video, you're going to find a documented written version of this video, along with a worksheet that's designed to help you figure out what the undisciplined child might look and sound like when it's activated within your own personality system. Take some time to download it, print it out, and work through the questions and exercises that are contained within it slowly. If you can, allow yourself to sit with the experience of the undisciplined child, but keep in mind this is going to be an extremely difficult thing to do, as the emotional experiences of this part are connected to the coping mechanisms for the uncomfortable and unwanted emotional experiences that we avoid the most. Learning how to listen to our parts gives us some insight for what it is that they fear, and in turn, why they feel the need to do what they do. This is how we build compassion and empathy for these important parts of our system, and ultimately, how we learn to practice unconditional self-acceptance. Guys, if you like the content of this video, please subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and turn on those notifications to get all the latest from me and the Liberation Place. If you'd like to know more, come join the live online meetings that I facilitate for free each week on Zoom. I'll leave some links to those groups in the description below. I hope this video gave you some insight for the undisciplined child and what it might represent for you in your own personality system. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Take care, be safe, and be well.